What's up, wrestling fans? It's Joe Cronin here with Jake DeMarco and Devious Dave Rose. And we're just going to fucking talk about the wrestling news, because there's a bunch of it. Hey, can I bring up my first part of news? First?
Yeah, what do you got?
Alright, let's start off on a happy note, because we just talked about suffering and stuff. Nobody else heard us, but we were. By the way, guys, if you can click the like button, subscribe, and comment down below, that'd be great. Monetize this last night was unfucking real if you missed it. So apparently the New Day are going to enter WrestleMania on a roller coaster. Have you heard this? Have you not heard this?
Really? No, I did not hear this.
I'm not joking.
Pretty, they called it the ultimate thrill ride, so it kind of fits with the theme.
Apparently the set is going to be built like sort of like roller coaster themed. So they're going to come down to the ring like riding a fucking roller coaster or something. I'm not
New Day rocks. Yeah, that's actually pretty cool. I'm all for that.
Could be New Day dies if they don't fucking do it right.
Yeah, right? Oh my god. But yeah, I mean, it fits with the theme, and you see them, in every commercial with it being in the roller coaster and everything's in front of you. It reminds me of like Star Tours at Disney, those 4D theaters, and you've got all the matches and stuff happening in front of you as the roller coaster moves. So that'd be pretty cool to see them and how they do it. I miss the days when you used to have these custom sets, like Backlash, when it had those gigantic swinging hooks, and you think of King of the Ring with the huge glass panes that Kurt Angle threw Shane through. Yeah. Nowadays we just have the big Titantron, the Raw and SmackDown set. So,
well, WrestleMania set's usually pretty cool, like different, like sort of.
Yeah, the WrestleMania, but as far as other pay-per-views go, but yeah, WrestleMania the past few years haven't been.
Nothing beats WrestleMania 8 with the jukebox fucking entrance walkway. Whatever the hell that was. Remember that? It was
I liked, what was it really? It was 19, right? That they had in Texas, where they had that really long ramp.
Yeah, that was a big ramp, yeah.
Or was that 17?
It was 17 too, I think. So maybe it was 17 as well. But I remember like 17, 18, 19 maybe. And like, and then like WrestleMania 8 obviously had a giant walkway, because you never remember when you remember like when Papa Shango came out, and it was so long that they fucked up the ending. Remember, because like Papa Shango, Shango was supposed to like pull Sid off or whatever, pull Hogan off Sid or something. Yeah, and he completely missed it.
He kicked out of the leg drop. He had to, and then that was the first time anybody had kicked out, because they couldn't get the 3 count because Shango wasn't there in time. So.
It was weird, yeah. It was, and then I think it was. Now I don't. Well, we're getting completely off track, but anyway, let's get back to the roller coaster. So yeah, they're gonna ride the fucking roller coaster down to the ring. Who knows, Dave? What do you feel about this? I feel like this is a little cartoony. I feel like, if it's really good, I mean, maybe, but
the problem is that it actually fits perfectly well with the New Day. The New Day has proven themselves to be one of these sort of stables that continues to produce, especially merchandise-wise, and that's a big decider in the WWE, and they attract all forms of fans. And they're smart. Like, again, there's sly comments that they make, again, with the Russia hacking, or even more recently with the whole Xavier Woods, do you have anything to say to everyone? I mean, the way that they conduct themselves is genius. I think it's difficult to verbalize, but I just think that if you try to railroad them, if you try to fuck them over, they're going to find a way to just overcome that and make themselves look even better. They really are that good at sort of, garnering support from the viewers.
You know what it reminds me of?
I think this fits perfectly well with their character, with what they're trying to portray. It is an interesting entrance. I mean, I don't think we've ever seen that before. And fuck it. I mean, let's do this.
Yeah, what I was gonna say, it reminds me of, Dave, is reminds me of where Shitbum came from. It's like, okay, you're gonna do that. Well,
that's a perfect way of fucking. You take, when life hands you lemons, you punch life in the fucking balls, and you make lemonade.
Absolutely.
Yeah, now the shit bum is something. I mean, it's hilarious when you think about it. What happened?
It's iconic.
It's a badge of honor.
Absolutely, I love being known as a shit bum originally.
Well, what do you got, Jake? That was my little. That was my scoop.
talking about a roller coaster going up, where I'm about to bring us all down.
Oh.
Apparently, a fan passed away at a live event yesterday. It happened at a house show in Portland, Maine. An elderly man reportedly collapsed out of his seat in the corner stands at the second match, beginning of the second match. EMTs moved the man to a flat area right in the middle of the aisle, Joe, and they proceeded to conduct CPR for 20 minutes before taking him out on a stretcher and to a local hospital. During that time, EMTs performed 2 matches went down. So they continued doing the show while giving the man CPR in front of the entire crowd. There was actually people tweeting live from the event. One tweet was from someone right next to them, right next to the gentleman that passed away. They said, so have you ever had one of those nights where someone in the stands dies right next to you at a live event? I just did. Somebody put, oh my God, rest in peace. And this person said, Section H, row 16, seat 14, rest in peace, dear stranger. And they said right next to me, whoever he was, God rest his soul. And then they also said that police were searching the area and around the man's chair. Fans in attendance were said to be speculating that the police were searching for drug paraphernalia, though an update given by an unnamed responder was one of the first to respond to the event. It had been learned that the unidentified gentleman is definitely passed away, so, God rest his soul, but it was just that, they kept the show going, trying to keep the fans' eyes away from it, but they were forced to do CPR right then and there. He was unable to be moved at that point, so...
Yeah, well, that's fine.
Actually, I got to speak on this.
Okay.
As somebody that is well trained in various forms of first aid,
of course.
It is something that you really they did the right thing. You cannot move somebody who is in that situation where you have to resuscitate them. At least you have to try. And to try to remove him from the crowd and then, try to resuscitate him could have made things worse. The authorities did what they needed to do, period. It's unfortunate that it happened in an event. It's unfortunate that somebody died. I take a little bit of solace at the fact that this person was clearly there because they enjoyed wrestling. At least... perhaps this was something that gave them solace in their final moments, which is an unfortunate thing to think about. But the problem is, it happened. We have to examine the fact that what's more balanced: the whole show getting canceled and then bringing attention to that, or trying to sort of keep the audience sort of distracted with the show while people like first responders try to do their job to try to resuscitate this guy. It's a very, very sad situation.
It's the same way they handled the Owen Hart situation that they were criticized for, but the show must go on. But like you said, it's something that has to be done.
That's different. That's different because
that is different.
The Owen Hart thing was he died. They got him out of there because he had to get out of there to go to the hospital if he was going to survive. They couldn't help him there. And then he died, but this was literally like they were working on him there. So it's a different thing. Working on him there as this situation is happening makes perfect sense. The show would continue. Everything would continue.
Try and keep the fans' attention away from the event.
Yeah, I mean it's not interfering with the what's going on with the guy. Then just keep it. The WWE probably wasn't aware of it probably for the first who knows how long.
Yeah, exactly. So,
but again, it must be horrifying for spectators that are there to watch it, as well as the fact that people have to, like, the first responders need to try to resuscitate the guy. So again, it's a very sad story, and it's not like anything could have been done to prevent this sort of situation, but at least the response was balanced and appropriate.
Absolutely. I don't really have a proper segue into our next story, Joe, so I'm just going to say it as carefully as I can. Talking about The Undertaker here, I didn't want to say the dead man. So, talking about The Undertaker, right before the pay-per-view in January, it was revealed that Taker had, needed another surgery because he originally missed, months of television where he was going to have his return. Remember, he came out to SmackDown and, he said, I'm back. WrestleMania no longer defines me. Well, at that point, he had hip surgery, which was keeping him out of action. Upon his return, it was revealed that he would be in the Royal Rumble, but no one knew if he fully recovered from his surgery and how he would do in the match. He just told Vince that he'd be able to return then. Well, right before the pay-per-view began, he actually found out that he needed another surgery, and this one could be an entire hip replacement. This hasn't happened yet because WrestleMania is this Sunday.
Wow.
But according to PW Insider, by way of Wrestling Inc., it was extremely painful for The Undertaker to perform in the Royal Rumble, and things have only worsened since then, not improved. At recent episodes of Monday Night Raw, The Undertaker has been seen walking around backstage in a great deal of pain. He's not been happy about it. This has caused a lot of discussion to be brought up with executives who feel as if WrestleMania 33 may be his last one ever. I mean, there are some options out there, but none of them, spell out much good news for his in-ring career. If he takes off time, which he's done, only wrestling at WrestleMania to WrestleMania, he may end up feeling better. So, but he is getting older. I mean, so there's a lot of factors, but this is definitely a major surgery that has to take place soon. And that's why it's being said that the original match, to touch on a later story, was supposed to be him and John Cena. And that's why people are assuming plans were scrapped for him to face The Undertaker as a passing, The Undertaker to face Roman Reigns as a passing of the torch. So your original inclination of this being Roman winning, I think, is going to happen.
Yeah, because the biggest value that The Undertaker can give to somebody for a loss or win would be to give it to Roman. I mean, we thought that maybe they'd do this with Lesnar, where Lesnar's first loss would be to Roman. Because even whatever you say, if you hate Roman, whatever, in the WWE's eyes, and this whole thing makes sense. Who's selling the most merchandise right now, and who could benefit the most from this right now? Probably Roman. I mean, AJ Styles or Roman Reigns, I would say. John Cena doesn't need to beat The Undertaker. John Cena doesn't need to lose The Undertaker. As much as that match would be, that's sort of a dream sort of match that should happen. It doesn't help the company as much. This helps the company more. Roman Reigns and Undertaker helps the company more, and it helps Reigns more.
And I listened to you, the news report you did yesterday with Dave, yourself, and Ken, and you made a great point, basically saying that, we've talked about it to death, and we just want the event to happen at this point. And I'm in agreement there. That Roman Reigns, I can't see him losing. He really can't lose here, and The Undertaker can't lose either. But it's a rock and a hard place, and I see Undertaker passing the torch and it becoming Roman Reigns' yard. They keep saying that, big dog, this is my yard, your yard. They're using yard, as a way to say the ring in the history. So
yeah, it's like, he can't be. WrestleMania doesn't define him anymore, so now it's about his yard. You know what I mean? That's what's happening.
Exactly. So, Dave, what do you think the outcome's going to be?
Sadly, I think that they're going to push a Roman Reigns win over Undertaker. I really do think it is the wrong thing to do. I can't even accept him winning dirty, although that would be better than him winning clean, as he seems to always do. It's unnecessary. It's unneeded. I really think it's just cheap and disgusting. I know that The Undertaker wants to continue working. I can respect that. He should be given proper competitors to face against and not make him look so bad. It's not just that he's unhealthy. Well, it appears that he's not in top shape. It's understandable due to his age, but at a certain point you do have to draw that line and say, I am unable to do the show as necessary. I think actually quite honestly, Goldberg should have done that as well, because he's winded after 5 minutes. And look, I don't want to see the guy die in the ring, and I just think that it's appropriate that sometimes you do have to accept your limits and say, you know what, I just can't put on the show that I should be doing at this sort of stage, and I do have to bow out.
I agree with you entirely. Speaking of bowing out, we have word here that Undertaker's brother, the Big Red Machine, KANE, has filed paperwork with the Knox County Election Commission, which is traditionally a move that predates candidacy for mayor. So he's going to be going ahead, and KANE is taking the first steps towards running for the mayor in Knox County, Tennessee. So best of luck to him.
That story up, you bastard.
Well, he was, what's it called? Well, Glenn Jacobs wanted to be the president, so could happen.
Well, apparently certain Tea Party groups had urged Jacobs to challenge U.S. Senator Lamar Alexander in the Republican primary in 2014, and we talked about this actually back then, but he ended up deciding against the run. So I think it's interesting that we've seen so many individuals that have run for office and even have been successful. Not only Jerry Lawler, who failed at fucking becoming mayor of Memphis, but you got people like Jesse Ventura, who became senator of Minnesota, and that's huge.
Yeah, that is a monumental win there.
I guess Gail Kim tweeted Stephanie. She said,
yes.
my opinion is Impact is impacted. I don't get it. No shade, just truth. In my personal opinion, I never got my opportunity till then, and it's never stopped. She must be talking about...
Fuck that owl.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Gail Kim originally stated
right,
that
though.
she feels like she started the women's revolution at TNA with the Knockouts division and everything she did there. She feels like the women's revolution started way before WWE ever even acknowledged, that a revolution needed to happen.
It's true. We've documented this on my channel. If everyone remembers that talk I had about Slammiversary with her match, it was
absolutely.
Dude, the Knockouts were killing it over there on TNA. In fact, they were better than the men. And I raged about it over here 3 or 4 years ago. I raged about it on this channel, like, why can't WWE do what TNA is doing with the women? And now it's funny because now WWE's women are great, pretty much. They're kind of going backwards now.
You know what? Gail Kim does have that right to state that. Again, my issues with the organization is not with the actual individual talent, and she
the current
did
issues.
Much for that division. She advanced women's wrestling hugely in the industry, and she does deserve her due respect. But I don't know. I'm biased because, again, I've seen such maltreatment of talent by TNA and their new owners, Anthem, that I have difficulty coming to defense of people that still work for them just because all the others that have been fucked over.
Yeah, it's hard to give them any recognition.
It's just 2 different decades. I mean, right now Impact is fucking. But
I hear you, but I'm torn. I'm torn on the issue. Clearly.
Something I was discussing with a friend of mine, the Diva Bible, on Twitter before. What if the women's division had their own show similar to 205 Live? If the women, he brought this up first. He said, I think they should just have one big women's division and do what they do with, I said, maybe do what they do with 205 Live, where you have little segments on Raw and SmackDown, but the women had their own show entirely. How do you guys feel about that?
I think they could pull it off, to be quite honest. And if you start to actually intersperse commercials with, commercials for, say, Total Bellas or some other, female-oriented WWE-branded show.
Yeah, incorporate the reality television.
You will probably build a viewership of females, wrestling fans that would be interested in following that, but as well as males. So...
I don't know, man.
I don't know. I don't think but the problem is, if you want the moment you segregate these matches to a specific show, you remove that experience from what should be an integral part of the show. It's not our fault as the viewers. It's not the females' fault. It's not the males' fault that their writing staff are so inept that they can't plan properly to allow a balanced amount of wrestling from either division. So again, this is something I think that just falls upon the shoulders of WWE when it comes to the fact that they're the ones that failed at showcasing this. We don't really need a show. It'd be cool, but I don't think that. I think it just really diminishes and is detrimental to the product. I don't think we need to separate the women from the men wrestling. I think that we can have a great show if both are on and they're showcased equally, or at least in a manner that it doesn't seem like, oh, the women's match went for 3 minutes, but this nobody match, fucking men's match, went fucking for 15 minutes, and yet we got 3 commercials through that break. I mean,
absolutely. Well, right now you're right. The women feel like an afterthought most often. I mean, up until the past 3 weeks with SmackDown, they had been doing a much better job. I mean, the past few weeks, you got to admit, I'd say about 3 weeks, hasn't been great for the women's division on SmackDown. I want to say not ever since Naomi had to relinquish the title. I like seeing Alexa Bliss. That moment
was great.
Get it back. No, that was good. But like a week after that is when it seemed to kind of fall flat for me. Like plans changed, they adapted, and now that as soon as they announced that multi-woman match, that's when things started to go awry for me personally. Yeah. But here was my thought. We have a subject, like a subset show where there'd be one champion and even instate a women's tag team championship as well. So the girls have 2 things to fight over. You have a women's tag team championship, and you have the one main women's title. And then you can also, like they do with 205 Live, interject those stories into Raw and SmackDown. So, but give them more time, obviously. But they'll have an hour for their own, women's live show. And then they have, 2 segments on each program, Raw and SmackDown, where they can, feud then as well. So they're not an afterthought whatsoever. They'd be able to continue their storylines on the main shows, on both Raw and SmackDown, but then really develop the feuds on their 1-hour program. I don't want to segregate them. I don't want the women to be here and the men to be here. I still want to do it together, but I just wanted a platform for the women to be able to further, develop storylines and not be an afterthought. Because right now, I mean, that's what the problem with the Raw women's division at this point. It feels like one gigantic afterthought. Like everything's just so sparsely thrown together, and there's no, predetermined planning. Everything is on the fly. They don't have long-term booking prepared for that, and we know this. It's obviously evident with the hot potato booking. So, just a thought that I had there.
You're right. It's all over the place. I think it's one of those things where it's like, well, there's really nothing. It's almost like there's nothing to write for it, because it almost feels like there's going to be all these surprises, like in comebacks or sort of thing, like in the match. So it almost feels like that's why they're keeping it down. At this point, they really should have Alexa Bliss come out and cut a promo about how she's going to go through every woman and it doesn't matter, and just have her come out and cut a strong promo about WrestleMania. And that's it. Maybe have her say something. It doesn't matter when the match is. I don't care if it's the pre-show, the end of the show, the middle of the show. I don't care how many women come down or what happens. The fact of the matter is, when we leave WrestleMania, I'm going to leave with this belt, and that's it. Something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because what are you going to do? I mean, what are they going to? I mean, unless they do another thing where all the women come down, and then I don't want to. I hate that. Looking back to WrestleMania 25, where you had the women come out to Kid Rock singing. I mean, they didn't even get individual entrances. And
Santino Marella won that. I mean, come on.
That was enraging, that one.
Well, let me quickly then ask you guys, in relation to what I've said about the diminishing of the product by segregating and separating the women's matches from the main show, do you guys therefore think the same thing is occurring with the cruiserweight division, where even though you do feature 2 shows in a night that might amount to about 3 minutes in total, although JBL owes us 57 minutes for the rest of that, do you think that by having a separate show, it's detrimental to the product and therefore is sort of forcing it to fail? Because although people at the show, like you guys mentioned when you recently went, that it was an enjoyable show and it happened right after, people who are watching TV won't see that. So, or at least like the regular cable channels and stuff, and having the few matches on the show the way they are with 3 minutes in total, for example, really wouldn't entice anybody to fucking buy the network for the shit that they saw on that episode.
I would say if 30% of the WWE fans watch, or 20% of the WWE fans watch NXT, I would say, a quarter of that watch 205 Live. So,
and that's a huge problem. The way to fix it is, one, they need to dedicate more time to 205 Live and the cruiserweights on Raw. I mean, they can't be letting them have these minute 30 to 3-minute feuds, and they can't have.
Hold on. Do you think that what I said, like, do you think that by having it as a separate show, it sort of diminishes the overall product?
No, I don't think it diminishes, honestly. I just think
it just
that
gets lost.
It's not being executed properly, because it needs to be on network television. Having it be on the network, that's what the issue is, I feel.
Well,
you can have an hour to Raw.
Well, no, you can have it on the network. That's fine. But you have to sell it to people. Like, people have to believe that what's happening over there is better than whatever else. And right now it's debatable. So you don't. That's why it's not working. You need the 205 Cruiserweight Live people to kick ass on Raw. You need them to be so good that you're like, whoa, I wish I could see more of this. Oh, guess what? You can. 205 Live. And then also on 205 Live, they have to have better stuff go on than they did on Raw. So that way, that's how you convert somebody. Somebody goes, wow, I got to watch that on 205 and see what that's about. Then you turn it on. Then it's even better than you thought it was. And you're like, oh my God, I'm going to watch this every time. But if it's as good or worse or whatever, you go, fuck this. I'll just watch Raw. So it has to be something like to be honest, they should have they should announce a big match like Neville versus whoever the fuck in a burning tables match, or in a tables match, or something like a first blood match, like something where it's like, what? They're gonna do what? And yeah, it's gonna be on the network. There's gonna be 205 Live on the network, and it's gonna be Neville versus somebody in like a crazy match, and people would be like, whoa, like, and then if you plug that all over Raw, that's how you get people to tune in. And then, maybe the next week you lose 80% of the new audience, but maybe 20% stay, and now you've gained audience. Like, why don't they do that? I mean, that's what I think about. Why don't? I don't know.
Yeah, because I don't know about you, Joe, but for me, match of the night of the entire show was Mustafa Ali versus Adrian Neville. That was absolutely incredible. I mean, the match that they put on was
I thought it was
brilliant.
I got to watch it again, but remembering it back, I feel like it was second to the Usos match.
I saw a lot of people tweeting the same thing online, where they were saying like, "Oh my God, you got to check out this match. It was incredible." Not just you, Jake, but just people, who tweet. And it seems that, again, like, they are producing, they are giving good shows, but that's the talent. The writing in regards to how it ties into Raw and enticing people to watch it is the question. I don't think they're doing a good enough job, to be quite honest. I think it's a turnoff to subscribe to the channel, to the network, the way that they're, going about it.
Yeah, that's very true as well. To answer your original question, though, I don't think it's a detriment, like, you and Joe had said, to have a separate show. They just aren't showcasing it properly, and they're not enticing the viewers to go over and watch it. So
yeah, they just have to make sure they just got to make sure that they entice people. Again, it's like when you put not a lot of effort in. I mean, it's just like YouTube, man. It's really actually blows my mind that they don't realize this. This is how people work when you convert people now on internet and media and videos. Like, I do a good job usually of pouring it on to make sure people know that this is happening. You can't just say, like, okay, guys, well, hey, it's Joe Cronin, and guess what? You can also catch me. Don't forget, catch me on my other channel, this thing. Like, and then, like, nobody's going to really go over there. But if I'm like, hey, guess what? Tonight at 11 p.m., I'm going to be doing what all of you guys never thought I would do. That's right. I'm going to have a live sex celebration with the bear, and it's going to be on Shame on News on YouTube, my other YouTube channel, because it's too hot for this channel. It's going to be on Shame on News at 11 p.m. tonight. It's going to be me fucking the bear. It's going to be a sex celebration like you wouldn't believe. Show up and watch the fluids fly tonight at 11 p.m. And I plugged that a couple times. Are you kidding me? Like, as opposed to just saying, like, hey, check out my other channel that's da-da-da, and, like, 10 people go over there. If I say there's going to be a live sex celebration with the bear, and then I do that, there's going to be, like, hundreds of people that convert over there. So that's what 205 Live needs to do. You can't just say, tonight, Neville challenges da-da-da for the match, and it's 205 Live. So many people just zone out on that at this point. So you need to be like, no, Neville versus this dude in a fucking Inferno match, in a Cruiserweight Inferno match. Like, oh my God, what? They're going to light the ring on fire, Inferno match, Cruiserweights? get me on that.
And like you said, you have a talented roster. There's a huge amount of buzz and interest and intrigue for the Austin Aries match at Mania with Neville.
Yeah.
I hope that they don't relegate them to the pre-show. I guarantee that's what will happen, but I certainly hope it isn't,
I hope it
forced to be that way.
It should open the show.
I agree there.
Or if it doesn't open the show, it should be right in the middle of the show. That way, like, they burst a little bit of life into everything.
Exactly. But Neville was fantastic when we saw them Tuesday. I mean, he was just unbelievable. Some of the stuff that they were doing, and Ali, doing with the monkey flips. They had the chant, going on for the monkey flips, and he was, just very, very, very nimble and athletic. It was very impressive.
The fact of the matter is, though, is that they're not going to be able to fit all this shit. Think about this: Women's SmackDown title, Raw Women's SmackDown or Raw Women's title, fucking 2 different tag team championships. That's 4 belts. Fucking U.S. title, Intercontinental title. WWE Championship and WWE Universal Championship. That's 5, 6, 7, 8. That's 8 title belts right there.
Yeah, and there was a bit of news from Charlotte Flair. She did a report, or an interview, on the Sam Roberts podcast with Jim Norton, and Charlotte said that she believes that both women's titles will be on the main roster, or the main card, She doesn't believe that they'll be on the pre-show, so...
They shouldn't be. I'm thinking that the... one of the tag titles will be... Maybe the Raw tag titles might make it on the pre-show. But honestly, with a 5-hour show, you should be able to fit all 8 matches on the 5-hour show.
Oh, absolutely. I don't see... I just can't fathom how you can't fit everything, unless they do what they did last year again with, the filler with the bands and The Rock and his, 20-minute promo to inflate the numbers of how many tickets they actually sold. And
yeah, that was crazy.
I found that amusing when they announced when The Rock that was there last year. You broke an all-time attendance record of 101,700 something, but the real number is closer to 80,000. We just found out recently. So it's amazing how they
must
continually inflate their numbers.
The staff that worked there at the stadium.
Actually, even including the staff, I read, was still far less than what they announced.
Oh, man.
That's awesome.
I'm trying to pull it up really quick.
Talk about fake news.
Right?
Yeah, I mean, it was...
By the way, if anyone's like, oh, man, this episode, Joe, you're really lethargic, I'm very hungover right now, so if anybody's like, man, what is, monotone show? I'm so fucked up right now. I drank way too much.
The Inquisitor said WrestleMania 32 attendance record was all lies. It says that they really had, including staff, a little over 94,000 people. So they sort of rounded up to a random number being over 100,000. But one figure, they said that they did make over $17 million. This is the largest grossing live event in company history. Wow. That's one major thing for WWE, so that's absolutely true. They did have that. But
have the ticket prices gone up then? Because, again, there's easy ways to manipulate those sorts of metrics by charging more for a show.
Well, plus I'm assuming comp tickets and they bought a lot of tickets that weren't sold.
Yeah,
and, things like that.
That happens often.
It counts though, you know what I mean? Even when they buy them back, or even when they have to pay back.
Who knows? Maybe we'll see that goddamn bastard green shirt or my fucking doppelganger there at ringside again because I couldn't fill those seats.
Yeah, I mean that's 100% what it is. Absolutely, I've been saying this for a while to them. People are always like, oh man, what are they always doing there? It's I'll tell you what they're always doing there. They didn't sell the ticket. You know why you didn't? You want to know why you didn't see them at Mohegan Sun? You didn't see Doppelganger and them at Mohegan Sun. And I'll tell you why. The arena is 60% the size of a normal arena, and they sold the fucking tickets because of that. And the prices are lower. The prices were lower. So
and that place was do you know
why
filled to the brim. Besides why the
prices?
Off, so.
You know why the prices were lower? You know why the prices were lower for those? Why people bought seats in the front row and the doppelganger and them didn't show up? Again, because it's less money for them to rent the Mohegan Sun Arena. It's less money.
Mohegan Sun offers deals too
with
high rollers, so they comped a lot of tickets too.
You know what?
each show they have at the Mohegan Sun Arena, they have to save, I think it's like 500 to 1,000 seats for the high rollers.
They bank on all these people coming in. It's not just that they're renting the arena, it's that they're getting eyes on the casino and they're making money on the casino then, so they charge less.
That's true.
They also have to charge less because the arena is smaller. The bigger arenas charge more. The Garden, the Boston Garden, is going to charge more money to rent.
But Drew, I've got a comment on this, is that I've been noticing for a while, and again, like, there's articles that come out once in a while that really, again, provide a lot of information, and when you look up and correlate them with actual market statistics, you find them to be true. So what I'm talking about is the fact that the WWE has been having a problem filling their arenas for at least the last 2 years.
Yes.
But it's like solidly, but it's been probably going on for a lot longer. We've seen it with these areas where they've been blocked off with the black and all that stuff. You pointed that out multiple times. We've seen that on actual shows, live shows and stuff. And it seems to be that they're trying, the way that they're operating, it ends up costing more to go to a show that's less attended than what you experienced, which was less potential attendance, but full capacity and less cost.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that there was maybe 20 to 30 seats not sold. But that's a 60%. That arena is, again, about 60 to 70% the size of a normal arena for SmackDown.
Yeah,
so
very small.
You're talking about 30% we're missing. Plus, we're in the home state. We're up the road from Stamford. We're only about, 30 minutes away from Stamford?
Roughly. I mean, probably about an hour, but still, yeah.
Yeah, we're not far from WWE headquarters at that show. I mean, it's at a casino. You'd think there'd be all this. So, I mean, if that building had been, a full capacity of a normal building like a, TD Garden or Madison Square Garden, something like, well, Madison's even bigger, obviously, than TD Garden, but, you won't fill it. Now, you'll fill Madison Square Garden because it's New York, so that's like the hub. I mean, you're going to fucking sell that out. Pretty much Boston, too. Like, the only time you see seats not sold in Boston was the live events. When you go to the live events, when I went to that, actually, this was the first time, I'll tell you right now, I've been to about 8 to 10 live events at the Garden, at the Boston TD Garden, whatever the fuck. And this was the smallest crowd I ever saw for a live event during the Heat Wave tour or whatever it was. I took Gavin to. Once that first elevation happens around the bowl of the ring, right towards the 15 rows up that elevation, after that was completely emptied, and there was scattered areas throughout that were empty too. And I was like, wow, this is bizarre in Boston. You know what I mean? Because I'm thinking like, well, this is, it's going to be one of those things where like they're like the nosebleeds aren't sold. You know what I mean? Maybe the nosebleeds aren't sold. Up there it's scattered. No way, dude. I went to 3 house shows during the Attitude Era. That place was filled. Every house show.
I remember going to the New Haven Coliseum when that place still stood, and that was kind of like their, home arena as well, Joe. They used to film a lot of Raws there and stuff at the beginning, being so close to Stamford, and they would have to, turn fans away. WWE was the last, act to perform in the New Haven Coliseum before they tore it down all those years ago.
Where was WrestleMania 11? Was that the Hartford Civic Center?
I don't think it was New Haven, but let me double check.
I think it was the Hartford Civic Center, I believe, but. That was one of the worst WrestleManias. They were right in their own backyard. They had audio trouble.
That was the Hartford Civic Center then. Yeah.
Yeah. They had trouble with the audio all night. Like things were just WrestleMania 11 was fucked up, and it was like it's like right here too. It was the weirdest thing.
They haven't had a pay-per-view in Hartford since 2004. I told you that was the last one and only pay-per-view I had gone to.
Yeah.
And now they're bringing Bad Blood back to Hartford in July 9th. So
Bad Blood, WWE.
Some other quick news.
Hey, we got to go to Bad Blood. We got to go to Bad Blood, dude.
We absolutely do. I wish we could get Dave down here.
What area is that?
It's in Hartford.
That's kind of a bad area, isn't it?
No, it's not. Well, I mean, it's not too bad. The area around there is not that bad. So
okay, well maybe we'll stay at a
right.
hotel.
It's the capital, so it's not
the capital.
It's better than Bridgeport, that's for sure.
All right, well maybe we'll stay at a hotel. Maybe we'll get Dave down here someday. Dave, would you ever come down to the U.S.?
I'd consider it.
Okay, someday we'll get Dave down here. We'll go up.
We'll put Dave on my couch. It'll be beautiful. I'll feed him a good steak dinner.
I say you guys come up to fucking Niagara Falls, Canada, and we fucking have a ball.
Yeah, because then we can all meet each other. It's almost like a halfway deal for all of us.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. We're all fucking sacrificing, but we'd be willing to meet there at the border.
I don't know if you want to go to Niagara Falls. The fucking cake stalker will kill us. Hey, Joe.
No, he's fucking on the East Coast. You have to fucking fly in or something.
Oh, okay. Well, what's up, Scotty? He's fucking all over Ken now, I guess.
A little bit of a swim, but I'm sure we'll be able to tackle those waters. You know, people have done it in barrels. We can get a big raft, Joe.
RYBACK doesn't go to Niagara Falls, bro.
You could use me as a life preserver. I float.
Yeah, right. How about that fucking shot the other day in that video of your cock, the whole thing?
Yeah, that's right.
Man.
Little upskirt.
Yeah, imagine you in a dress. Oh my god, dude, I would.
I could produce the photos.
Somebody call my mama. Somebody call my mama.
Triple H praised The Miz, calls him the best on mic in the current roster today. So
that is awesome to hear. That is so cool to hear because Triple H is fucking right. The Miz
King of Kings
is
said
great.
he was very surprised if Miz wasn't world champion in under a year.
You know what? I'm right there. Miz actually does deserve something to come his way because I'll tell you what, this guy is fucking fire on the mic right now. Everything he's doing, it's unbelievable. That's how bad everybody else is because The Miz is coming up as one of the best. I mean, John Cena is one of the best. And, you know, as much you can hate John Cena, you know, and I don't like him too much, but, you know, John Cena on the mic is always fire. Problem is, a lot of times he says the same thing. The Miz kind of can do that too when he gets into like how he's held down or whatever. But he's just so good on the mic. Yeah, The Miz, John Cena, and you know, I think AJ Styles sometimes has the potential to come out of it. But AJ Styles right now to me is cutting promos like the post Attitude Shawn Michaels. Like he's sort of like they were good, but like not the best. It wasn't like
he sounds disgruntled, but
yeah. Like I told you, Triple H.
But, yeah.
Shane, damn it, Shane, why did you do like that's how he kind of talks, like, and it doesn't really, you know, but you know, just like Shawn Michaels would be like, well, Hulk Hogan, if you want to step in the ring and find out, you know, against the Heartbreak Kid, you know, we can do that, and it's just kind of like generic, like sort of nice. Like he's good, but it's like not. It's not like wow. Like
it's
damn.
safe. Yeah, it's very
like,
safe.
I want Shawn Michaels to grab the microphone and tell everybody what he's gonna do. All right, because whether it's in the ring or in the bedroom with your wife, I get it done. I don't know what that was. It sounded like a mix of Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart. But,
it was a Canadian combination.
Yeah. Let me tell all you stupid Americans something, especially that big fat fuck right there in the front row. How's it going, fatso? Well, let me tell you something about your dad, kids. I assume this is your dad, unless he's just a heroin addict who paid you to get him in here. Let me tell you something about Dad. Dad ain't gonna be alive too long. Because when Bret the Hitman Hart is the WWF champion for 1 year straight, chances are Daddy's gonna be in a grave. And you'll be coming to the shows begging the Hitman to be your dad. I got advice for you, sir. Why don't you follow my lead, do what I do, and maybe you'll be something. But you'll never be like the Hitman, just like all you stupid Americans and you stupid morons and these stupid announcers over here who probably said something dumb the minute I came out here when really you should be saying, there's the most respected WWF champion in the company's history. There's the biggest athlete in the world today. There's Bret the Hitman Hart. But all you can do is sit there and flap your gums and criticize because you're jealous, because you're fat, because you're lazy, because you will never, ever be as successful as the Hitman. You know, we need somebody to do that, to just fucking rage, like, and just go. And it's like The Miz can do that on Talking Smack, and other people can do that. I don't even know what I was just doing, but it was better than half the fucking roster still.
It absolutely was.
But so I don't understand why people don't do that. And you know, Roman Reigns might need something like this too, man. Because even Roman, it's like, man, it's like he's cool and stuff, but nobody wants that. It doesn't fucking. Even the kids that like him are just like yeah, Roman. Like it's like these people are so easy. You know what I mean? Hulk Hogan.
True. It's that easy.
You guys like your tater tots?
No, again,
huh?
I always say it's the kids and the soccer moms.
Yeah, right. It's the kids and the soccer moms and the slutty moms too.
Yep.
Kids, soccer moms, and slutty moms. That's who like Roman. And you know,
Well, we also saw a lot of kids that had the title belts that also had the AJ style gloves and the Roman wristbands on. So it was kind of weird. They had the Roman wristbands and.
You're right. We did see that. We did. We really did. We saw. I think kids are coming around on AJ Styles. I think at first, kids who didn't know who he was were like, "Who is this lame guy with a weird haircut?" I don't think he was too relatable.
With that bowl cut.
But I think they're starting to see how cool he is. AJ Styles kind of has that like. How does he relate to people? AJ Styles kind of relates to people like a dude who's like a NASCAR. I know it's not just because he's got the southern accent, but it's just he's got that gritty feel. He's got like the sort of like the BMX rider feel. Like he's a daredevil kind of. Like he sort of has that little bit of a feeling I could feel connects with kids like who think he's cool, like a race car driver or a BMX driver or someone who does like skateboarding. Like he just sort of has that look and that connection, I feel like, and it's not just because he's got the gloves on. He does look like he's driving a bike with the gloves, but no, really, I think he really relates to kids that in that way. But for a while, I think people didn't know what to make of this guy. We all knew, but his wrestling is doing the talking because kids are liking him for that. They're like, wow, this guy's exciting. Awesome. Yeah, I mean, he's exciting to watch.
To do a lot more though, that's the problem. Well, like we all know that he could be doing a lot more. I don't know whether or not people love to him or they're just being sort of timid to allow him to be himself because he saved fucking Ellsworth's life when he fucked up with that fucking move, like with the Styles Clash. Like he saved his life.
I don't remember how he saved his life though. What happened? I remember the move
go
being
back
fucked
and
up.
Watch the fucking video. Jake, you want to talk about this?
Yeah,
I remember the move being scary and like Ellsworth ducked his head the wrong way. I remember that.
Yeah, and he could have fucking paralyzed himself. And what did fucking AJ Styles do? He fucking worked with it. He worked his magic, and he made sure that he bent
leaned
himself
forward more. Yeah, he like rolled with it.
Exactly. He didn't do his move like he would normally would. He had this premonition, I guess. That
he said, "Oh shit, he's gonna tuck his chin." Basically,
the guy saved his life.
Really? Yeah. I guess I gotta go back and watch.
He still came down on his neck, but if you watch
and he
it in
came
slow
down
motion,
hard, man. But
AJ didn't lay him out flat. AJ kind of leaned forward
3 inches more. The guy would have been paralyzed from the.
Yeah, I was actually surprised to see that happen, Ellsworth. Yeah, I figured he would know to hold his head backwards, but. It was bizarre. Yeah, it was weird. But yeah, he did great work with Ellsworth.
Well, you're taught to tuck your chin for all these moves, except for the Styles Clash. That's why people have gotten injured by it so many times previously. I say so many times, but it has happened. I mean, people have been severely injured.
You need to tuck your chin and then push your head all the way back is what needs to happen.
Exactly. You're always taught in wrestling to tuck your chin. Well, for this one, you have to keep your head straight as the move is going. You tuck your chin at first, like you said, then you keep your head straight and stiff, just like the pedigree.
Yeah, you're right. It's weird.
It's that same principle. So it's weird because your instinct is to tuck your chin, and if you tuck your chin, you're obviously going to go down in your neck, and you're gonna break your neck.
Well, I got to tell you, you know what? I've actually never been in that move. I've never had someone do the Styles Clash on me. So, yeah, it's never happened to me. So I guess maybe you could forget in the moment, like, oh wait, oops. Maybe he called it out and they didn't even talk about it. I can't imagine that. I feel like every time AJ has a match with somebody, like he heads them up on, hey, Styles Clash. Remember, this is kind of a weird move.
Yeah, really.
It was good too because you could do it on that guy because his height is so easy for AJ to pick him up. Ellsworth is like, my fucking size. But AJ is solid muscle. But yeah, I love that work. Remember the super kick? It was really good. But kids, I mean, dude, everyone's identifying with everyone. That's the problem now is like everyone's sort of, they are all superstars and everyone's clinging on to a different person, But I'm trying to compare it to like back when the WWE was going through troubled times, because this is nowhere near that. When you think about it, it's amazing. The people like us who are so critical of the product and whatever else, but yet the product right now is making more money than it ever has. You got to give them that. That's the weird thing is like they've found a way to make every bit of money anywhere they can. Believe it or not, I almost attribute it to like my show, okay? Because we've found a way on this show to make as much profit as possible to keep it going, to make it good, and to whatever, and to survive on this channel. And you know, where someone like maybe like JD or someone with like GrimsToyShow or somebody who's got hundreds of thousands of subs, you know, they're making tons of money off YouTube ad revenue. Whereas like I'm not going to make that much ad revenue, so we've got to come up with other revenue streams. And
if any at all, really, with the way they've been demonetizing videos.
Yeah, and who knows what's going on now? Yeah, so I mean, like I might be making more than some of those people at this point because of the way we've drawn things. But you look at it and go, "But Joe, you only have 45,000 subs." The same thing with WWE. Your viewership is down. Your viewership is down, but in the 3 million to lower, and yet they're making more money than they did when they had 7 million viewers. Like what the fuck? Like it's really unbelievable. The marketing, the product is everywhere. And you know, at some point, what goes up must come down. In every sense of that word. In the Attitude Era, well, you're up to 11 million viewers. You're down to 8 million. Eventually, it's going to come down. And guess what? It came down to almost 2 million. Money's going to do the same thing. Yeah, eventually, you're going to hit a wall where you've made too many shows, you've done too many things. People start dropping off the network. You know, you would think at some point it's going to come down. You know, I mean, they're like 2 injuries away from like it getting really weird, you know what I mean? Like,
oh, absolutely. I mean, look at the desperation that came out of last year.
But what they've done
with all the injuries.
But any minute one of these guys can take off. I mean, you got, you know, I mean, they're so good. I mean, Jericho, The List, and Kevin Owens, and Fight Owens Fight, and you know, even the women, Sasha Banks. You know, their real estate is dropping. They need to do something good. They need to have a good match. These women need to have a good match. I'm not sure what they can do now that it's a fucking 4-way or whatever. But anyway, what else? Do we have any other else news or what do we got? I mean, we could stop this and make a part 2. Want to do that?
Yeah, we could do that because I've got a few more things. Dave, do you have anything else pertinent to this part of the conversation?
No.
All right. Well, guys, this video is going to be up soon, and then part 2. Look for part 2 to be up after that. Okay, guys. We'll see you in the next video, and again, probably in about 2 to 3 hours after this episode. What is State of the WWE am I on? I don't even fucking know.
I think 83.
We did 83. We did 83. So this is State of the WWE episode 84, part 1. Part 1. So look for part 2 in about 2 to 3 hours, guys. Thanks for listening.